Welcome to Kids Express.
Join us as we see kids express their love for Jesus
while developing their character.
on Kids Express!
We're so glad you're joining us today because we're going to meet two brothers who volunteer to help at a restaurant because they believe and support the owner who helps in their community. I'm Aunt Francine.
And I am Sofia. Can you guess where in the world today's guest comes from? Can you identify what state? If you guess Alabama, you're correct. Let's welcome Ethan and Elon. Hi.
Welcome. Oh my goodness.
Whoa, what is that?
That looks like a scrumptious cake. Is it a cake?
Yes, it's an Alabama Lane cake.
Oh.
Alabama Lane cake. Now, there's something about, some people put alcohol in it, but we don't do it because you can make it even better without alcohol, right?
Yes.
So have you had this before?
No.
No, I can't wait to try it a little bit.
yeah.
It looks like it has a lot of coconut. Do you like coconut?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about Alabama.
Yeah.
Well, the state flower is the camellia, and the state bird is the yellowhammer.
The yellowhammer. How about you, Elon?
There's lots of water.
There's lots of water, and does it
Because
rain
it-
a lot?
It rains a lot.
It rains a lot. You know, that reminds me of something that I brought just because of that.
What is
that? Do you know what it is?
Is it a pipe?
Well, not quite. It goes like
A windshield
this.
wiper?
Ah, you got it, a windshield wiper. Now, Mary Anderson, she noticed that some of the streetcars, the people would have to go out in the snow or the rain and whatnot to make the windshields clean. And she's like, we need to come up with something. So she put some rubber and put it with a mechanism that would go back and forth. And now all of us enjoy having a
Windshield
windshield wiper. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah.
But, you know, you talked about rain as well, and there is a lot of rain also because there's an animal that's really small and goes very slow. What kind of animal is there? Yeah, so Alabama has the most snails than any other state in the United States.
Wow.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I never knew
Yeah,
that.
and sometimes we talk about people being as slow as a snail or as slow as a turtle. But yeah, that's kind of interesting because they like the water. They like to be near water. So tell us about hobbies. What kind of hobbies do you like?
I like to swim.
You like
Oh.
to swim. I do too. How about you, Ethan?
I like to ride my horse,
What's your horse's name?
Regal.
Regal. Oh, is he pretty energetic? And
Yes.
You have to keep him on low key.
Or else he'll run away.
How young is he?
He's 6 years old.
6 years old? Okay. So he likes to run.
Yes.
That's kind of fun.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about a little bit about how you are sharing Jesus. We talked about a little bit that you're helping in your community at a restaurant. Now, what kind of things are you doing? Go ahead, Elon.
Well, we built a spice rack for the lady that was fixing the food because before her spices were all flattered over the place and she thought she had lost them because they were just somewhere where she had set them down and she kept buying new ones and because we were doing cooking classes so we noticed that she needed a spice rack.
I like that. Did you find that out? Oh, and there's the picture of it. You know, when there's a need and you find a need and that's something that you want to do. Now, I'm assuming your parents had to help out a little bit, but that's pretty, ingenious of both of you. So both of you spent a lot of time. You spent your resources, too, to make it. So tell us a little bit more about that, Ethan.
Well, we had some experience before because we had built a horse stall for our horses and a garden. And so we used the same skills and tools to build the spice rack.
Wow. So did you come up with a plan? Did you look for a plan or did you just kind of think about it and then create it?
Well, we looked at a plan on the internet.
Okay.
And we kind of followed it, did our own dimensions and everything, and fitted it to the space.
Wow. I know at my house, my cupboard that is always the messiest is my spice cupboard. I have to admit, like I've tried different things, and it's like I'm trying to jam too many spices in a smaller area, and then so I see that as a big need because I'm always like hunting for where my spice is. So that is very creative. So you found that need, and I'm sure she was very appreciative.
Yes.
She was happy.
So when you brought it to her, what happened? Tell us a little bit about that.
She was very excited. She, as soon as we got it on the wall, she started putting her spices on there, and so now it's very organized. She has them
Alphabetized.
It's cool.
Did you have a question?
Do you have your own horse?
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
And so what's your host's name?
Antares.
Antares. That's kind of clever. Yeah. So, you know, wherever we have, is that about the main thing that you do for your community? Is you sharing Jesus?
Well, we have a garden, and we grow fruits and vegetables, and we give them to the community.
Including that restaurant too?
Yes.
So in the community, does this owner help some of the people that are less fortunate?
Yes, she has a free Thanksgiving meal every year, and she opens up her doors to the community, and people can come and have a free meal.
Oh, that's very
Wow,
nice.
that's kind of interesting, isn't it, Elon? Yeah. So here's another question, and we like talking about this. If there's one thing that you both feel like you could work on, what would that be? Like sometimes God is working on our character, and I think at home, some of us at home can learn from our guests here, and I'm hoping that that's the case. So tell us a little bit about one thing that you feel like you could work toward.
Probably having a cheerful spirit when we're obeying, especially doing chores and things that we necessarily don't want to do, but our parents ask us to do it. We're having a cheerful spirit. I think I need to work
So
on.
having that right attitude. Do you agree, Elon?
Yes.
Yeah. So can you think of a time when you felt like you had to have a cheerful attitude and it was hard to have that cheerful attitude?
Sometimes my brother aggravates me, and it's hard to have a cheerful attitude.
So when he aggravates you, what do you do?
Well, sometimes I just tell mommy, or I go in my bedroom and pray.
In your bedroom and pray. Now that's a big deal. How about you, Ethan?
Well, sometimes one of my chores in the house is to clean the table after dinner. And sometimes, like if I'm working on a project or something, I don't want to clean the table after dinner, so my mom has to remind me. And sometimes I don't really want to do it. And I don't
So
do a good
you
job.
talked to me about this week also about somebody that really aggravated you at school.
Oh.
And that's hard to have a
Yeah.
good attitude. Now, can you give us just the circumstances, and you can change the name, but can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, let's say I'm going to change the name, Sam. It gives me a hard time at school, and so sometimes when I'm like walking down the hall,
You'll say something unkind.
yes, something unkind, then you're like, you really want to say something unkind back.
Yeah.
But that's not what Jesus would want you to do. So you just walk away, keep walking, pretend like you didn't hear it.
Yeah, and still having that cheerful attitude. And then you said even right after, what else did you do? You were helping somebody else.
Oh yes, we were helping a man in our community who lives near the lady where the restaurant is, and so he asked my parents, could we teach him about health? And so we went over to his house, and me and my brother did a presentation on New Start.
New Start, that's clever, and I think we have some pictures about that. So for those of you that don't know what New Start is, it's a way of healthful living. So N stands for
nutrition.
Nutrition, good job.
E for exercise, W for water.
Good job.
The S is for sunlight. T is for temperance.
Good job.
A is for air. The other T is for trust in God. And the last,
Oh, we forgot rest.
R.
R
R
is
is
rest,
rest.
and then trust in God. But so you were doing that, so you were teaching some people of that as well.
yes.
So did you have to have a cheerful attitude if you're sharing?
Yes.
Yes.
You don't want to look all grumpy when you're doing
You don't want to look awkward. All of us have those times when we have that attitude of like, oh, I've got to catch myself and be cheerful, even though bad things come our way, because that happens. You know, sometimes when we want to be grumpy.
Yeah.
Did you ever notice that when you're grumpy, it kind of spurs other people to be grumpy?
Yeah.
Have you ever noticed that?
Yes.
And then you might have a whole room or a whole classroom of everybody being grumpy.
That'll be bad.
So what can you do to try to be not so grumpy or to turn the atmosphere around? What things can we do to change that around?
You could not be grumpy, and so then maybe the other class will just follow you instead of the person that's grumpy.
And that's true. And, you know, starting to be grateful for the things that are good is a good start. How about think positively? Like, maybe there's something good out of this. What can I learn from this? And sometimes you can actually change the way you speak. Like, sometimes we talk like this when we're grumpy, but actually force yourself, even if you're faking it a little bit, and say, hey, you know, I appreciate your comment, thank you. And just with that person that was in the hallway, for example. That's kind of awkward to do, though, right? Mm-hmm. But you know what? When we're grumpy, or you see somebody grumpy, what's another thing that you could do? How about telling jokes?
Oh yeah, that would be.
Do you have a funny joke? Do you have a funny joke? Go ahead, Elon.
What did the ice say to the glass?
What did the ice say to the glass?
I'm cooler than you.
That is funny. See, that can turn it around. Do you have one, Ethan?
Yes. Why did the potato cross the road?
I
have no idea.
Because he saw a fork in it.
He saw a fork in it. Yeah, that would be a funny one too. So sometimes having these jokes make it funny, and can change the atmosphere around. But you know what? God can use us no matter what we do. I think it's almost time for a question.
Oh yes. This question comes from Nora in Ohio. Nora says, sometimes my brother is grumpy and it makes me grumpy or angry too. What can I do to cheer him up so we don't get mad and fight with each other?
Oh, so that kind of ties into the two of you. If one of you is grumpy, what can I do? So, you know, we've talked about that question a lot of times, and God wants us to feel compassionate and to think about the other one, you know, how to help them.
Yeah.
And one of those things that we just talked about is making up a joke. Making something funny. Here's another one. Why did the old man fall into a well? Why did the old man fall into a well?
Why did he?
Because he couldn't see well.
Oh,
that's a good
one.
How about another one? You can make up a pun even. Like, I'm reading a book about anti-gravity. It's impossible to put down. See, you see how it changes the atmosphere sometimes? So sometimes, I know, I've got some joke books here, and sometimes just having some jokes in hand is helpful. So get a hold of some books, maybe check some out at the library, write some down, even puns. And you know what? When somebody's having a sad face and you find your brother or your sister or some classmate having that kind of attitude of grumpiness, you don't want it to be contagious. You want a happy face. So just changing your face around and making a funny face, like, you know, just making a funny face. If you did that to the person that's being mean to you, what would happen? They might think you're being disrespectful. But if you make another face that might be appropriate,
He might have a good mood too.
Yeah. Oh, that's silly. And then just make this face like, you know, or I agree with you. Sometimes just agreeing with people is another way to do that. But Jesus wants us to always look for opportunities because he wants us all to be happy all the time, right?
Yeah.
Doesn't he want us to be happy?
Yeah.
We have so many things to be happy about, and we can use those opportunities. So let's look at Proverbs 17, verse 22.
A merry heart does good, like medicine, but a broken spirit dries the bones.
So we do need to be happy, right?
Yeah.
Because we know merry means what? Joyful.
Yeah.
And we have a lot to be thankful for and happy about because Jesus wants us to be happy all the time. So spread the love of Jesus by being happy. Thanks for joining us on
KX230034.